I have to tell you something, and you might get angry. Of course, if you get angry, remember, you're getting angry at yourself. I told a friend, I couldn't deal with this because I really don't know if you're real or if this is all in my mind. It's some kind of crazy delusion or a dream or what. I called a friend. Well, yeah, kind of figured that. So you knew that I called that friend because it's in the timeline. So every second of everybody that ever lived and every creature that ever lived, and yes, the dinosaurs, the cavemen, and okay, every second that ever lived has been recorded. Not just every second on Earth, but every second in every universe, every dimension, every multiverse, blah, 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 blah. So literally, say for example, I'm talking to you in 2012 for some people. And you, from 2012, wanted to visit somebody, say, 2063. You can actually visit them if you had a way to transport yourself. And it gets very confusing. So every second that you live is recorded. So everything, even now, as I'm speaking to you, is being recorded. And therefore, what this means is that every time we utter a word, it has already been recorded, but it becomes instantly the past. As I speak, there is no real present. And you spoke about that in the past yourself a little bit. You're correct. There really is no present. There is only past and there is only future. What we would call and deem the present really doesn't exist because by the time the present would be theoretically here, it already became the past, and what is not here yet is the future. So the words I have not spoken yet are in the future, and the words I've already spoken are already in the past. It gets you a little bit confused. I can understand that, being that you're back in 2012. I'm not insulting people in 2012. It's just at that time, humanity did not figure all that out yet. It takes a while. I can't reveal when. All right, now, you have any other questions? Because according to myself, you know the original you and all that stuff, you made a bet with me. Yes, we still have bets, by the way. They're not for competition. They're just for enjoyment, self-amusement. Sometimes we might give somebody an extra something, whatever it is that they enjoy the most. So it's not really, since we don't really use money, it's not a bet, and one doesn't get something over another and all that wonderful stuff. But we do things for fun. So according to you, I want to find out what your next question is. So wait a minute. Hold on a minute. Something's confusing. How can what we're doing right here, right now, be in the timeline, and I'm also in the future at one point, and then I'm also deceased at another point. So the original me is alive at different points in the timeline. I don't know. That's rough. That's hard to think. So wait a minute. Let me try to comprehend what you're saying here. You're saying that everything that I've done is somewhere in the future, in some future timeline. Even when I move my hand like this, if I never do it exactly again, somewhere in the timeline, it's in there. Okay. Wow. That's all. I don't know if I want to utter those words, but I guess I should. Let me get this straight. You're saying that every second of life that ever has existed since the beginning of time is still in existence somewhere in the timeline in some other dimension. So if what you're saying is true, now here's where, I know you don't think that I comprehend all this stuff yet, but actually you should know that I do, to an extent. So what you're saying to me, now hold on a minute. You're saying to me that every second of life that one has is recorded, almost as if one was watching a movie, right? Or writing a book, correct? Okay. Then what you're saying, every second of one's past then becomes sort of bookmarked or indexed and still exist. So if one wanted to say, go from 1988 and visit oneself in 2000 or 2063, one could theoretically do this. Wow. What happens to sports? If every person, every being in every world, yeah, I still have a problem with that. I hope you fix that in the future. At any rate, if it becomes a cooperative society, how does sports fit into it? To you, I want to find out what your next question is. Are you looking through this paper? You sure you're not? You can't see this. You can't see me. Yeah, I remember John Cena. I remember you telling me about that. He was a good wrestler. I like John Cena. Yeah, there's a lot of John Cenas out there these days. Yeah, there's a lot of CM Punk. Yeah, there's even a lot of Canes. We won't go into that. Yeah, I know you still like wrestling. Okay, that's a cool thing. Yeah. Can we not get into that? All right. I was hoping you didn't ask this question. So far, you're 2 for 2. Mr. Future Albert, that is. All right. Sports does still exist. Even without us being a competitive group of universes, societies, planets, beings, what have you. But again, the competitiveness is a desire to win, okay? Which seems like it counteracts with the cooperation. But what happens with sports is there is the competition, but not to see if somebody can be the quote-unquote winner and the quote-unquote loser as your perspective is. So yes, there is a winner and a loser, but again, it's similar to the bets. It's just for pure enjoyment. What motivates the athletes of our day is not money. It is not anything other than it's their chosen field of enjoyment and entertainment. And you got to remember that, for example, John Cena has maybe 1 million clones. Who knows? We don't know. Remember I told you that before the last time. But John Cena, while he is a professional wrestler, simultaneously is a doctor in a different lifetime, has a different clone. He's an attorney. He's a musician. He's a magician. He's a construction worker. He's a rocket scientist. He is... Oh, I almost gave you something. He also is an astronaut. I almost gave you something else that you don't even know exists yet. I can't tell you. But yes, pretty much everybody, including yourself, can and is everything because life is endless. What you need to kind of, right now in your lifetime, the best way to try to get a small handle on this would in fact be, as I said before, to read that book, The Science of Getting Rich, and they speak about the universal substance. At any rate, yes.